Good morning, everyone. I am Professor Adana from the Department of Mechanical Engineering, Maharaja Institute of Technology, Mysore. I am going to be teaching the subject Management and Economics, which is taught in the 5th semester of the VTU syllabus. Today, I will take you through an introduction, that is an introductory overview of what the subject is all about, what syllabus does the VTU cover, and what are the course outcomes, that is what we will be learning, or rather what you will achieve after the completion of this particular course. To begin with, I'd like to give you an overview of what is this management and economics subject. As an engineer, you might ask that question, why do I need to learn management? Or what is my role as a manager? Or why do I need to learn economics? That has nothing to do with me. But management and economics, or rather this subject, is designed to give every student a real-time perspective in the engineering decision-making scenario. If you look at whatever companies we observe in today's world, it could be an IT industry, it could be a mechanical industry, it could be any form of company or any form of engineering field, all of us have to understand what kind of managerial skills are needed over there. So to begin with, let me take you through exactly what the subject teaches. The subject gives you an overall understanding of the utilization of resources. Every industry requires man, material, money, machines for its successful running. Now, how do we utilize these resources that we have to the 100% capability and ability of that resource? To understand that, we need to learn this subject. Also, when you are going to run something or when you are going to carry out some sort of an operation, there are a lot of finances that come into play. These finances could be investment in machines, investment in human resource, investment in location, investment in a lot of things. Now, how do we decide this? We need to understand how we need to invest financially. That is, we need to give a lot of specification and importance to the financial aspects of every project that we are undertaking. The name of the subject itself suggests management and economics. So, to understand exactly what we are going to do in management, under the banner of management, you will be learning what is planning. Planning in the sense, right from the beginning of deciding what exactly my organization is going to do, what exactly I am going to be carrying out, what exactly is the outcome of my organization, my company, or whatever factory I have. This requires a lot of planning. Once I have decided that, I will also come to decide the location. I will decide what will be the turnover, what kind of product I want to manufacture, what kind of service I want to deliver. All of these things have to be decided. These come under the very, very initial phase of planning. Planning will deal with all the types of planning, different types of structures that you can have, a lot of other smaller aspects as well. Planning in detail will be covered in the management section. Further moving on, we go on to organizing. After we have a plan, I have set up the organization. I have decided that this is the way my factory is going to work. This is the way my institution is going to function. This is the way that my company is going to be functioning. Once I decide that, I am going to start organizing things. I have to organize what will be each department, what will be the function of each department. I have to organize what is going to be the roles and responsibilities of everybody who is going to be employed in my organization. Now, once I have decided that and decided that the situation, or rather the order in which things which are going to take place is so and so, I will go on to decide what kind of employees that I want. Do I want to employ people full-time? How many part-time people do I need? Do I need any contract employees? Am I going to be taking interns? All of those kind of small decisions that have to be taken will come under the next part, which is staffing. Staffing is hiring the right kind of people at the right time for the right kind of job. These come under what we call as human resource. So in the staffing section, you will be learning how to employ people. We will try and understand what kind of human resource is necessary for what kind of job and how exactly we can make use of the best kind of manpower that is available to us. After we have done the staffing procedure and we have hired the employees onto the organization, whatever roles and responsibilities these employees have has to be made clear to them. Once that is done, they need to be directed, they need to be told, they need to be instructed. Now for that we have what is called as directing. When we get into directing, we will always understand that there is a leader above everybody in a team. And this team leader is responsible for every activity that takes place on the team. Now, once this is directed or once these instructions are given, the whole procedure will begin from there, where we get into controlling and coordination. The director will be responsible for whatever is happening within the organization, and he or she will be having a responsibility of ensuring that everything is taking place in a controlled environment and going in a coordinated manner according to the goals that have been set by the organization. Moving on to the economics part of it, what you're going to learn is different mathematical tools and formulae. Why we need to learn these different mathematical tools and formulae? This we are going to learn in order for us to be able to understand what are the financial aspects that are going to be involved when we have already set up our organization using management principles, which we have already learned. So here, when you are using these mathematical tools and formulae, when you are going to apply these things onto the actual organizational front, you will get a basic idea of how to carry out analysis of the finances in any organization. We will learn about the laws of demand and supply and many such kind of tools and techniques. We will learn about costing, we will learn about depreciation, which will help us to choose the right kind of products, the right kind of raw materials for whatever goods or services that we want to provide. The syllabus that is covered in the Visvesvaraya Technological University is as shown here. So the entire syllabus is divided into 5 modules. Module 1 deals with the introduction to management. Here you will be learning the definition of management, you will be understanding what planning is in detail, you will be understanding whatever organization has to be taking place, how that is done. So the very basics of management, right from the definition to the application, is covered in the very first module, Introduction to Management. Once we are through with understanding what the definition of management is, we further move on to organizing and staffing, wherein depending on the nature of the management, depending on the nature of the organization, we start organizing all the activities within that particular organization and employ the right kind of people for the right kind of jobs with the right kind of salary at the right time in the organization. Once we are clear with this and we have the setup ready and everything has started to function and is directed, controlled and coordinated by various managers, we move to the financial aspect of it. The financial aspect begins to be taught in module 3, wherein you get an introduction to engineering economics. All the financial aspects of whatever costing that is going to take place, right from the location of the factory to the final end product, from the procurement of the raw material to the delivery to the customer, from the logistics of where and how the company has to be set up, the layout of the within the factory or whatever be the organization that we have, to the final seating positions of all the employees within the organization is discussed in an economic way, relating it with economic formulae or rather mathematical tools and formulae which we use. Then we try to understand, when I have invested some amount of money in my organization, I want to understand what is going to be my future rate of returns. Am I going to make a profit? Am I going to run a loss? How do I take a decision on what kind of product I need to manufacture? How do I take a decision on how much money I need to invest? How do I take a decision on what kind of economic strategy that I need to employ? I will understand this, or rather we get to know this better in module 4 when we understand every kind of rate of return, present, future, all the rate of returns, annual rate of returns, all of these things are covered in module 4. Moving on to module 5, we learn costing and depreciation. We as mechanical engineers, we have a lot of raw material procurement and we have different types of mechanical strategies, different types of value addition that is used before we get the final output. Now, how do I choose the raw material, or how do I tell my customer that for this product that you have demanded from me, this is the cost that you have to pay? And how will I convince the customer the costing, or rather the amount or the rate which I am fixing for my particular product is worth it? I need to understand costing for that. If I choose a particular raw material, on what basis do I have to put the cost? Depending on the customer's requirement. Now, depreciation is something that we talk about once you buy a particular product, the moment you start using it or the moment it is sold, its depreciation begins from there. Now, how do I calculate this? How do I understand what is the salvage value of a particular product after a certain period of time of usage? Because based on that, I have to apply, or rather I have to put the rate or the cost of the product which I am manufacturing. This covers the entire syllabus of Visvesvaraya Technological University, which will be covered during this semester. Coming to the question paper pattern, how Visvesvaraya Technological University is going to set the final semester exam question paper for this particular subject. There are 5 modules. There will be 2 questions from each module. Okay, that adds up to a total of 10 questions in the total paper. Now, the choices are internal in nature. For example, from module 1, there will be 2 questions from which you have to choose any one question. Like this, out of questions, students will have to answer any 5 questions, using at least one question from each module. The total amount of marks, or rather the split of marks for this semester, or the scheme, that is the 18 scheme, is 60 marks for the SEE, semester end examination, and 40 marks for the continuous internal examination that takes place within the college. Coming to the internal assessment, there will be 3 internal assessments conducted for 30 marks each, and an average of all the 3 tests will be considered for the final marks. Marks are set aside for assignments that are given to the students. The university prescribed textbook for this particular subject is Principles of Management by Tripathi and Reddy. Taking you through the course outcomes, briefly I would like to take you through what is the skill that you will learn, or rather what it is that you will learn for each of the topics that you will be learning in this particular subject. The first course outcome that we will be concentrating on is the application of concepts of management and effective planning at different levels in an organization, not just at a managerial level, but at every level that a person is employed in any organization. Further, after the application of these concepts, you will also understand and learn how to interpret the process of organization, staffing, directing and controlling for the development of any organization. You will be able to infer from the concepts of economics, the importance of demand and supply in decision making, what you need to do to make sure that the demand and supply are at the level. Then we will be able to evaluate as well as compare. We will be able to evaluate as well as compare different types of rates of returns for various alternatives. Like for example, if I have 4 to 5 products which I need to understand, I have 4 to 5 alternatives which I need to make a decision among which is the best of them, I will be able to evaluate and compare using rate of returns. Finally, we will be able to estimate the cost of very simple product components and learn depreciation in various methods. Let us begin with the first module, the introduction to management. So exactly what is management? How do I introduce you to this word or term called management? Management happens to be the most sought after skill in any organization. This management could be not only in a work front, not only in a work organization, or rather when you are working, also it is important even during your studies, during every form of activity that we take up. Without management, whatever will be futile. We will not be able to understand how we are supposed to manage our time. We will not be able to understand how we are supposed to manage our resources. We will not be able to understand where exactly we will be heading. So in which case we decide, or rather we will try and understand exactly what is this word management further. Before I tell you the meaning of the term management, let me stress on its importance. Why exactly is management important? I have listed this under 3 different headings, or rather 3 different topics. The first is to understand the economic growth of any country. Management is the most important aspect of the economic growth of any country. If a country, or rather the people in the country or the government or even the people who are working within the country do not understand the skill of financial management or do not understand how to multiply their profits, the economy of the country can drop very easily. Second, it is the backbone behind every organized effort of a business. It's not only a business, even any activity. If at all there is no management, for example, a simple example like a college festival, if there is no proper management of resources, time, money, it could be any kind of infrastructure, food, whatever has to be used for the particular festival. If there is no proper management, we will run a loss, or rather the activity becomes futile. The third most important reason, or rather the third most important point why management is a very important topic is it is the life-giving element of every organization. Management is dynamic in nature, which means management is applied at every stage or every walk of an organization, of an activity. It could be a business organization, a marketing strategy, it could be anything. It is dynamic in nature, and hence it is what gives life to the organization. Every element needs proper management. If at all there is a particular element that lapses in its management skill, the entire organization, the entire activity can come crashing down. For example, if you do not plan or manage your time when you are learning how to study, or rather when you are studying for your examination, at the end of the activity, when it comes closer to your exams, you will be unable to reproduce, or rather unable to write down whatever you have learned, because you have not managed your time and spent sufficient substantial amount of time on your studies. All the activities within an organization require planning. We need to understand what kind of a product is being managed or rather being produced, what kind of an activity, what kind of a service is going to be rendered, what is the outcome of whatever we are starting. There is an activity to be conducted, what should be the outcome? This needs to be planned in detail. That comes under the planning strategy. That is in general terms. If you need to apply this to an engineering scenario, when I am opening an organization, when I am starting a factory, when I am trying to begin a company, what I will try to do is I will try to plan the location, I will try to plan the product, I will try to plan the raw material, I will plan what kind of personnel I need on the team, I will understand what exactly has to be done within the factory, what are the factors that are going to affect whatever productivity that we are going to talk about, what kind of output, all these things right up to the very basics, salaries being paid to employees, all of that needs to be properly planned before execution. That is in the planning phase of it. Once I have planned these things, I will have leaders. We appoint leaders, we appoint managers, we appoint group leads, team leads, all of those kind of leaders who will guide the people who are working under them to do whatever has been asked of them. So to carry out these tasks, leading is very important. So in any organization for management, planning is the first step. Then further, these plans are put into action with the help of leaders who are supervising whatever has to be done. Next important part is leading. Now, once these leaders have put into place all the rules and regulations for the working of the organization, what we see is whether it is happening in a structured form, in an organized form, as per our policy, which has been set in the planning phase. That comes on to the organizing phase. Now here, this organizing has to be made sure that it is controlled and within the scope of whatever is the organizational goal. So we have the controlling phase. Again, it is from the management. Planning, leading, organizing and controlling all the efforts of the members within an organization along with its resources, whatever raw materials or whatever resources available with the organization, effectively. It is very important that these efforts are effectively utilized to achieve the organizational goals. This is defined as management. So to put it together, management can be defined as planning, leading, organizing, controlling the efforts of all the members of an organization and its available resources effectively to achieve the organizational goals is called management.
Management takes place within an organizational structure. Always note that at the very top of the organizational structure is management. The basis or the foundation of organizational structure is leadership. The upward arrows indicate that it permeates into every wing of the system. Now, within the organization, a manager allocates resources, human, financial, physical and informational resources to the organization. He does this using the functions of planning, organizing, leading and controlling. Planning as in creating a budget for the various programs that will take place in the organization. Organizing as in structuring the human resources into an organizational chart. Leading as in influencing others to achieve the organizational goals created in the planning function. And controlling as in comparing the budgets with the actual figures and taking actions if necessary. The interlocking circles drawn here can show you the dependencies of these plans on each other. All of these functions cannot work independently. Carrying these out effectively and efficiently leads to the achievement of organizational goals. So, in summary, management takes place in an organizational structure with its position at the top, and leadership is the foundation upon which an organization is built. Within the organizational structure, managers allocate resources, human, financial, physical, and informational, using the functions of planning, organizing, leading, and controlling to most efficiently and effectively achieve organizational goals. This summarizes the definition and behavior of management in any organizational structure.